meeting to order. We have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
A motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Not many remarks from me, other than thank, for those of you who weren't here, thank Mike and Eric for cleaning up the mess on the corner of Bay and Laurel, and appreciate that. But like you said, we don't want to spread the word that
Right.
the board did that.
Clean up.
But it's an interesting project, the idea that if there's some places that you identify, it's like, you know, somebody's got this thing lying there, maybe we can go get rid of it.
Well, the ones I'm thinking are pretty egregious. Maybe
And
not.
maybe get them when they're out of town and we'll go clean it up.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes a health.
Yeah, whatever, you know, yeah,
There
that's,
must be vermin in there and,
Yeah,
you don't
I
know
think
what. There's bound to be.
And this one we can use the excuse that we felt sorry for, the tree fell in the house, yada, yada.
Well, and I'll
the
just say
women
two
in the neighborhood wanted
residents.
it
I'll
done so
just
they
say
could
two
walk by it.
residents. Thanks to the two residents, Mike Duconis.
Don't mention,
Yeah, you don't have to.
No, no,
You don't
no,
have to.
he
No,
gets,
but
a
then
couple
it's
residents
names.
volunteered and took
Okay.
care of it, that's that.
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's better that way.
Okay.
We appreciate that, though. Let's see. Well, I'll just mention this now. The last meeting, I think it was the last meeting, we were talking about the work on the corner of Lake and Bayview, with the erosion, and the tree and all that. And we said, well, we're waiting on an updated bid from Ward, which you still are.
No, he said it was the same as
Oh,
he gave us
oh,
this last,
okay.
most
Well, yeah,
recent
all
one.
right, good.
Yes.
But anyway, brought up, not a bad idea, that maybe we should see if there's another bid we can get. So Rhea kept trying to get a hold of this Birch, and they never returned calls, never responded, nothing. Then, was it Tony told you about
Tony gave me a
that?
card, Chess
Yeah,
Shores.
so Tony gave her another name, and it's an outfit up in North Beach, I think. Chess Shores. I thought, was it, you mean Chesapeake? No, it's Chess Shores. And they've done work down here, they did work on surf and a couple other areas. He showed me some work on, anyway, I met with him last week. He finally responded to us and came down. Seemed like a knowledgeable guy. He's got a crew, he's got a permit person and all that stuff. So I showed him the area there on the corner and basically explained just like, same thing that we had before. Fill in the bank, get rid of the trees, tie in the two ends of the riprap, and build it up so it doesn't erode anymore. And he understands that. Then I showed him the lake, where we talked about putting some shallow riprap in there, trying to hold that bank on the lake so it doesn't keep receding towards the road. So I showed him that, and he's got, I think, all the information he needs. He will send us a bid, and that's, again, the office address. His permit person contacted us for more details on where it was. So, we'll just have to see what comes in. I have no idea, I didn't even try to guess, or guesstimate with him or anything on price, just wait till he submits it. He said he would submit it. When he submits, it'll be two separate bids, and it'll be on a per linear foot basis, which is a good way to do it. And he talked about the right kind of, his knowledge seemed to be good. He talked about the right kind of rock, how to slope it, how to layer it, and all that. So,
So I have a
some of
question.
it's all right.
I have a question. Since Ward's has been working on this for so long, I think they already have the permits. So does that mean, are they going, if we go with this other
Well-
company, won't they at least charge us for their work on getting the permits and then
The word?
more?
Oh, sure.
So then, do we want two charges?
Well,
Can't we just,
it-
those are our permits, can't we just hand them to the new company?
Probably, if the permits are registered, somebody else can come in and take over the permit, our permit. It's not
Good question.
gonna make Ward very happy.
No,
That doesn't bother me in the least.
But they're slow to.
they're so slow.
Nobody makes Ward happy.
I mean, they do good work, and I understand, they do good work, wards, but, yeah, they're so slow to respond. I don't know.
They're just very.
But
Well-
apparently so is Chess, and so is.
Yeah.
They all are,
They're all
so
It's like,
to me, it's just a matter of,
did you get
it's a
this?
matter of price and schedule.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And if, I'd say, right now, my thought would be, well, if they come in at or very near the same price,
Mhm.
then I give it to Warren,
Okay.
because they've been working with us.
They have.
But,
Right,
They've done the
and everybody
bids,
got backed up, I understand that,
Right.
there's another company, can't think who it is.
right.
They're not even putting paper bids or proposals right
But if
now,
they-
or requests.
But if they come in with a substantially better
Yeah.
price or schedule or something like that, then that's a different issue. Then at least we can go to Warren and say,
Did you say how long,
Hmm?
did you say how long it might take to get a proposal to us?
to get an estimate. He talked like it would be, within a week or so.
Okay.
So we'll see. He talked like he would get back to us within a week, so
Okay.
expecting this week sometime.
And refresh my memory, because I've already forgotten, Chess what?
Chess Shores.
Thank you.
His name is Don,
That's all right.
Donnie something. She's got his
I
card.
got his
I've got
card, and he does not respond to email. So, but anyway, at least he did find them.
Yeah.
I don't think any of these places have like professional staffs that, fill the phone calls and so on. So you just sort of have to go with that.
Sometimes it's better if you can, if they'll accept a text, because that just gets attention.
That helps, it does, texting connect
And
sometimes.
I know wards are licensed, I'm assuming
Oh,
these
yes.
guys are licensed in
I'm
Monterey.
assuming, so we'll have to check that out. But
Yeah.
there's a list,
Yeah.
We would get all that before they actually
Yeah,
got a
there's-
contract.
there's actually the state maintains a list of approved certified marine contractors.
Interesting, that's
So
good,
we
good
can
to
go,
know.
I can find that out. So that's where that is.
Me?
Office update.
Okay, still working on the QuickBooks database, transferring all the names, and now I'm doing invoices. So I told Jack earlier, if you look at the balance sheet and compare it to last month's, don't. Because I'm entering invoices, and that's causing the receivables to go up.
Yeah.
And at some point, I'll do a journal entry to balance that out.
Yeah.
And, the covenant fee, I think I put it on there. No, I didn't. We need to talk about the covenant fee. Because it goes up every year according to CPI, and this year it will be $125.62, so $126. Last year it was $117. That's in addition to the mandatory assessment. So I think we probably need a motion on that.
Is there a motion to, check to use 126 for the covenant fee?
Some of the,
Discussion, or questions, or?
Yeah, I don't think we have any choice, right, because it goes up.
Well,
We're guessing.
Well, a few years ago, like we did it the first, second time, and then it began to go up a buck or two, and then we're like, well, do we really need the money? And I think it was Gary who was still on the board at the time, and he said, well, we really shouldn't, we should be consistent every year. That's what we're gonna do, that's what I should get. So,
So what's, I forgot my phone and calculator, what's the percentage you use?
well, I just go online, CPI.
No, I know, but what
It's
is-
$9.
what
$9, the percentage.
Oh, $10,
Yeah,
in
$10.
1948. What is it worth today?
No, I know that.
What's it from last year?
What's the number you use?
Back in school.
Is it
No, no, no.
No,
I know, what, I don't have my calculator.
Is
What's-
it 8%?
What's the
It looks like
increase?
it's
It
8%.
sounds like it's about 8.
I was gonna guess
Yeah.
8%.
Yeah, it's about 8.
Yeah.
Everybody's telling us.
We'll see if we're right.
Let's see if that's
So
right.
it's, 117 is what it was.
Mhm.
So divided by 26, or 126. 9.2. Or
Wow.
9%.
Oh, we're close, but we're low.
No.
No, that's just the difference.
Oh, that's the difference, oh, that's not, oh, that's
Okay,
the, that's
You need to divide 9 by
120.
Oh,
117.
117, okay, yeah.
Oh. .0769.
So it's
So about 8%.
7.7%.
So that rounds up to 8.
Right, so
You're
it's
right.
extra.
And that's-
Yeah, it's, I like the idea of a 126 also, somebody will assume that, oh, they must have thought that one out to put that extra.
Well, but
Seriously, there was a reason, so letting them, you know, as
Yeah.
opposed to rounding it down to
Yeah,
125 or something.
Yeah.
so we just tell them it's based on a CPI increase of 7.7% on the 117,
Okay.
if anybody.
Well, and I could maybe do a little piece in the newsletter,
Yeah, yeah.
because it should hit about the same
And I
time.
assume that's it kind of coincides with inflation rate, so that's kind of what this is all about, right?
And we all know inflation.
Yeah, and that's our 8% is
Yeah, I think
about,
there's been enough publicity about the CPI and,
Right.
you know,
yeah.
we're seeing it. So this way we have a number for fall back on it.
Right. We're still not terribly high in our fees.
No,
No, actually compared to CRE, yeah.
The only other thing, speaking of inflation, CMB Electric comes every year and inspects. I think.
Oh, yeah, we didn't vote on.
Oh, well,
I
thank you.
I moved.
Right.
Oh, you
You moved
moved
it.
it.
You did.
I'll second it.
We're all talking.
I'll second it.
All right.
Good deal.
So then,
Aye.
Okay. All right, so then, CMB Electric comes every year to inspect the generator and so on, because they're the ones that installed it. And I just got the bill today. It's $421 this year versus $295 last year. And I looked at the past few years, it's gone up steadily since we had it. It was $250, and then 2 years later it was $265, $280. Fighting minutes, and now it's at $421.
And that's to,
Inspect the generator, change the,
okay.
you know, the filter and whatever, spark plugs, whatever else out there. There's a whole list of things that we did if anybody wants to.
And who is that? Is that?
CMB Electric.
Now, is ours set on a test schedule
Every Wednesday.
every Wednesday? It runs for half hour, an
Yes.
hour, or whatever.
When I leave at 4, or maybe it's when I go out in the afternoon, I can hear it running. Runs every Wednesday. And that's all I have.
So did you all lose power here the other week, and we lost ours?
I know the Drum Point Club did,
Club,
because
yeah.
we had just gotten out of North Carolina.
I think it was
and
everything.
Eric got the alert of the club.
Yeah.
last night.
I did not.
And Chris
I
did.
sent Chris
It
the
came back
list.
on by
Chris,
like.
You're right down on the same.
We could run a zip
We
line
were
to her
working
house,
on that,
and
actually.
she lost
So
her.
we were
Different,
different.
they must be on a different grid or whatever.
Different,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know where
But
we
Jack,
were.
did you
Different
lose
transformer.
electricity?
Yeah.
I was not, so.
And when I
You have a
came,
generator, so you might have,
when I came down, nothing, all my electric clocks were
Yeah.
okay, so I don't.
Yeah, it was like Deer Drive
Finally, I
and
said, I'm not.
Johnson.
Johnson Station.
Oh, what day was
yeah.
that?
did you lose
Y'all
electricity?
didn't do,
Um,
yours didn't do.
I don't think,
Well,
we were in North Carolina,
but I came
and I don't think our house was.
Okay, so you and Jack went to North Carolina,
They were.
okay.
That's what I heard.
Who stayed behind that can answer my question?
And-
His wife and your husband?
And the caretaker was in North Carolina too.
Well, we did lose it at our house.
Did you?
Yes,
2
only
hours.
for a couple hours.
Yeah, so we
It
might
wasn't very
have,
long.
yeah, I don't know if we did
Came
our
on
house,
like a
'cause we
little
weren't
after
there,
9.
but we did get alert for the club.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the gate doesn't work either, for the power.
Oh.
Like it's like a mess down there.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any problem over on the Leeson Cove area.
It must have been a tree. It had to have been a tree. that
Tree,
fell.
It was
well,
windy,
tree or,
too.
I mean,
Wind sometimes.
Well,
There wasn't that
A
cold,
transformer or
so.
something?
Well,
it was,
you know,
all-
maybe
it was
part
all,
of
it
it
was
was the
all
tree
over
that-
though, it was
Yeah.
way over that way on
Gosh, what
here,
day was that?
and then it was.
That
Chris's
was,
house.
Friday, early Friday morning.
That would be
No,
two
she
separate.
lives, and I'm only
Yeah, I wasn't
right
there.
around Lake Charming from
Or,
her.
or no, we drove down Friday morning, so it was
So I
early
think
Saturday
it
morning.
was- Yeah.
Because we got an alert, it was right 7 in the morning.
Didn't it?
Yeah, we just got.
Didn't last, didn't hurt me,
Yeah.
it wasn't so
Okay.
painful, you know, you ought to. Very loud.
all right. The roads, we've already talked about Bay Drive, so.
I texted Chris this morning for an update, and he said that Great Mills was there and has done all of the corrections, you know, center line and so on. So I called Sal to have him take a look at it, and he'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Sal and his wife worked on
Okay.
COVID this past week, so they're just back on their feet.
I haven't, so they've done the gravel and everything?
They have not, the shoulder back up, Chris
Okay,
doesn't know,
I
but
didn't
they'll
think-
come back and do the shoulder grab.
Okay, well, I'll try to take a look at it too.
Yeah, and
Is that you, I think?
I looked at
I
that.
think we're gonna need to.
Yeah, that's right, guys, my purse is down there, so I'm kind of not always all there, you know?
Geez, there's a symphony going on.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a junk call to the,
Yeah.
as most of them are.
I don't know, I bring her down.
When I turned it off, then I forgot to turn it back
Okay,
on.
so we're,
There's nothing wrong with that.
so we're finishing the paving, and
Sal will take a look at it.
Sal will take a look at it, I'll take a look at it, and Sal and I have a TBD appointment to talk about stormwater management, because we're gonna take it away from Chris, it's just not working. So,
My concern also though is, you know, county, if this is a special tax district expense, well, paving of course is. But if we do any stormwater management that's paid by special tax district, it has to be inspected. Now Jeff always was allowed to be the inspector because Jeff was so good.
well,
And I suppose Chris will be okay on the inspection for the paving, but the stormwater management jobs.
Well, we may have to ask the county for
Okay.
inspection.
Okay, just so you're aware though, that's something that if it's special tax district money, will have to be
Yeah,
inspected.
well,
Okay.
okay. Anything else on roads?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And how's the money, Jack?
Money looks just about the same as last month. I keep going through looking for something that I can say to it's like nothing. Rhea mentioned,
That's good though.
swoop
It
heading
kind
in.
of is, yeah.
But other than the thing you mentioned,
Balance sheet.
it's all, it's exactly where we should be.
I will say that the supplies will be over budget at some point because we decided to order return envelopes with the PO box. And I had already kind of thought ahead and gotten envelopes, you know. So anyway, it's not a tremendous amount, but it'll end up being over budget a little.
Yeah, okay.
And the only big thing is paying off the paving.
Right.
And that's gonna be a big transaction.
Yeah.
I have one question, I'm just gonna ask you, it's minor, but I noticed on your street, on Bay Drive, you know, where they're doing the remodeling on the house
Yeah.
across the street where the trucks pull up, there's like, on Bay Drive right there, there's like a little divot in the road, when they finish working on that,
That was Johnny Wood.
I thought he fixed it though.
Yeah,
That was a-
but, I remember y'all talking about that before.
There's
You
still
said
a
Johnny's
divot.
people did it, and it's still there though, you're right.
yeah.
That little
When you
spot.
say a divot, is it like a divot?
It's
Or is
square.
it a-
It's a
or is
spot
it-
about this
It's like a
big.
rectangular,
Oh,
I mean,
it's a
it's
big-
not,
it's
I
a
mean,
hole.
it's not huge, but it's like
It's
a
a hole, so it's not,
rectangular,
okay, when they, okay.
divot, I mean, for some road that's just, you know,
Did
we're
they
trying
have
to,
did they have like an excavator or something like that, piece of equipment?
they've had all
Because
kinds of
typically,
equipment there.
what
I
they
don't
do
know.
that is when they put those pads down.
Yeah,
They put a bunch of weight on it.
that's probably what happened, yeah.
Do you
I don't know.
happen to know who the, so
Oh,
maybe
I
it's
don't
not
know.
John Wood, maybe it's.
I don't
Well,
know.
that, I believe what she's talking about is the one that was from, y'all mentioned it months and months ago.
Yeah.
And they said something about, yeah, Johnny's gotta get out there and, or his people
Well, and he
gotta
did, and
fix it.
I looked at it and I said, I don't think that's good enough. I'd have thought they'd done like a saw cut and.
They did do
Hey,
they
so
did
then
do something, they
Chris-
put
Chris
it in
had him
and then
come
it
back
settled
out.
is what happened. I would bet,
Okay,
if
that's
you
what
went to the
happened.
center point, you're probably, what do you guess, an inch and a half
Mhm.
lower to the street.
Mhm.
So it's not a big dip, but it's a slow.
yeah.
So it's not like a pothole.
No, it's
No,
not
no,
all
not
the
at
way,
all.
but it's like a
No, no.
rectangular
But you
edge
can't
that-
miss it. You'll see where they cut their little
Yeah.
X's to
Yeah.
pull out and then
So-
put new in.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
you know,
Chris
but
did have him
they
come
did it,
back
they
out.
left. I'm sure they don't know it's bad.
No, so,
So could it damage a vehicle, if the vehicle
Um,
fell off, or went down, I mean, does it
I mean, I don't think
endanger
cars go
anything?
very fast down there, so I don't think
No.
so. I don't
So
think
was
it's
it torn up
dangerous.
on the side of the road, I think that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
But what will happen is the road will continue to
To
deteriorate.
erode,
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
it's
yeah,
because
yeah.
just, be
No,
paying for those, it's kind of.
Believe it or not, that's one of those, I think the size of that, you probably get away with one bag of that stuff that you get at Ace.
Saccharin?
Like a Zachary.
Well, no, the
Oh.
concrete, the black stuff,
Yeah.
that
It's
paving
called
stuff.
cold patch?
Yeah.
The concern would be, you put it down, you gotta keep people off of it for, I don't know, a few days at
Well,
least
we
or
can
something.
put cones around.
Or that might work too.
Joe.
Well, it looks like they're still doing work at the house too, so
Yeah, I think-
I think it might just get messed up again.
Yeah, they've sunk that yard down where they put the boards on.
Yeah, they put like
It's
cardboard.
gonna
or whatever.
eventually be dirt and mud over the boards, and they might, for all, they'll probably leave them, because there's, oh, no boards left now. It's sunken that much.
So
into
should
it.
we just wait until?
I think we wait.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of a mess over there. And
Yeah.
shoot, I have no idea what are they doing? They just
Did they put a
building
road
one
on
one
that?
brick at a time, or?
I don't know, it's
It's just
almost.
crazy.
I didn't know.
It's
It's
all
all
you've seen this thing.
It's all
It's
on
been
January.
at least a half year,
Usually
right? Maybe
interior
more.
doesn't.
And then there's the other house behind us. that they're gonna clean
Well,
up.
I still
Yeah, this guy's making money. They're
Even if
doing
we wait,
it.
I
They're
would
fixing this thing.
contact the owner,
It's been
because
a
they're
year
still
almost on that
responsible
one.
for
Man, these
any
people must have
damage
money
to
to throw
contractors.
around.
Is this the
At least
place where?
make them
It's
aware of
it's
it.
Ralph's old,
Well, that's the
family
one
house.
that they're talking about right now,
Yeah, okay.
before I brought this up.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one with the pool.
The problem
Pool
with the
Pool,
pool
I mean,
was
starting,
pushing,
all along
pushing the
that
house
side
foundation was,
300 or 400
I heard
feet.
that the pool
There are
was,
pine trees. and
damaging the
pavement,
house
it's all
foundation.
I don't think they've even
Yeah.
done anything for the
So-
pool though yet.
It's hard to get.
I don't know what's going
It's
on.
an
worked up
existing
about
pool.
that when we got.
Well, this is the same house.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's Jenna's
50 feet,
former house.
so.
Oh, Jenna's, okay, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of a different one then.
No, it's, yeah, Jen's.
Pool that's
Jenna- oh,
sitting
Jenna's-
over
I'm gonna
there.
take a look at it so I
That's the
can.
one
No,
that
that's
just
not-
recently
that's
sold at the end of Bayview.
Yeah, yeah,
The owners.
Okay,
that's the
Oh.
one with the.
That
Oh, okay,
overlooks
oh,
the,
yeah, I know you
DPPOA.
got it. They own two houses, right? I think Chris
Yes.
said they bought that one and
Yeah.
that one or something.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
all right, back to Jack, any more?
No.
That's it for
You want money details?
That's it.
He got us sidetracked. I'm curious what he really did with the money, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all there.
We're gonna have a nice party again in March, right, Jack? Is that right? Yeah, Jack.
That's
We
the
know how it's
Gregorian
funded.
calendar, that has nothing to do
It's
with
we-
it.
Jack, we, you know, we support it though. We do
How
support
about
it.
how about our tree huggers and,
Oh, well,
and,
I'll start.
and reed killers?
Then I'll have the conversation. You know, the dead cane on Lake Terrace, I think, is probably ready to be
Is it,
removed.
okay.
But if you want, we could just wait a bit, there's no hurry, because it's not an eyesore to anybody.
So maybe in the springtime.
So maybe, I'm thinking February, March, or maybe March, weather permitting, February.
Will it be wetter in there than it is now?
I don't
Some of
know.
these areas, he has a hard time.
Yeah, well, it can't go into the stuff that's in the water, that will have gone,
Okay.
gone down into the water, but it's the stuff that was on the ground.
I'll
But-
put it on this list and then.
You can check it out, and, if we wanna just ignore it and let it continue, because Mark Smith always recommended letting it die by itself, but we took care on the, especially on the causeway, because it was such an eyesore.
Right.
Jen-
We have an Ivy League in December, and we only had 4 people show up to help us, but we finished up, our fearless leader came. Thank you very much, Mike. But we finished up the lot on Oak, so, week after next, we're gonna do Leeson Cove.
Okay.
You're gonna do what?
Leeson Cove?
On Leeson Cove, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know the lot number yet, but, it's in
I think
our,
there's probably a couple
Couple of
lots there that
in
are,
our,
So is that the
Yeah.
14th, the week after next?
it's the
Yeah.
second week in January, so
It's
yeah.
the 14th.
it is, yeah.
Okay, and what time do you usually do it?
10 to 12, and I'll send something to you next week.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's
Did you, hey, Jack, you hear Tom Sidley died? Did get word of
Yeah,
that?
I heard about that,
Yeah, that's too bad.
and that one's gonna
That's
be
the
kind of
date
along
this
the
year.
road.
Yes.
I think it's a vacant lot.
That's what I heard, yeah.
But if,
They've set it.
but those lots,
14,
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
I think there's two lots,
Usually got.
and they're owned by people that, I think, some of them are across the street.
Oh,
So if anybody challenges you, just remind them that
We can do the right.
it's on our right of way,
Okay,
That's that.
and that we're doing good.
okay.
Get your truck and run right over.
Yeah.
Boss is.
Okay,
I guess if I could add something, speaking of rights of way and people concerned about them, I'll be going back to court and Jack's gonna go with me for the property owner that you and I
Yeah.
talked about now. Is it 17th?
Yeah.
because he, you know, we couldn't settle it in mediation.
Ah, that's,
So we're gonna go back to court.
Did you bring an intelligent voice with you this time? Is that what Jack is? Okay.
Mike was there last time.
I don't
He
know
was
why
the
you picked
intelligence
Jack, but
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't
it's
either.
okay, we understand.
I fumbled and failed, so.
And you were, yeah, you too, okay, I understand.
This is gonna be an especially fun one though.
Oh, yes.
I'm curious to show up just to watch you guys.
yeah.
Have a few beers in the morning, we'll go there.
So you haven't heard anything more though from it,
No.
just that have a date and.
I got the date finally,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the 17th.
I'm curious if he's accepted the date or
I haven't
acknowledged
gotten
it or anything.
anything to tell me he has,
Yeah.
or that he has, or nothing, I've gotten nothing.
Okay. Yeah, I meant to do that on the roads, but yeah, that's good. Okay. Maggie, any updates on the safety today?
Yep, Jack, I will be hitting the line item for the safety. There's some supplies I need to get ordered to, get these to-go packs back in shape. So I'll be ordering those here shortly, and I can't imagine any more than 200 at the most.
What kind of items?
There are things like, burn packs, and we need batteries for all those flashlights back there. Hot packs, those kinds of things. We have a ton of Band-Aids and gauze and all of that stuff that we pulled out of the old backpack, or old to-go packs. So we don't need any of that, but, we do need things like 4x4s that you, pull out and put on burners. It's the gel, those, hot packs, or not hot packs, but burn packs. So stuff like that, just small things. We had, when Gary and I were here, we threw out tons of stuff that had been expired years ago. So a lot of things we didn't need because they pertain to policies and procedures from years, way back, and are no longer valid. So, we got rid of, hard hats and stuff that we just, they're not necessary, that kind of stuff, so, yeah.
So budget's 500, is usually probably
Yeah.
within that. Those, you mentioned the flashlights. Are those old flashlights with single filament bulbs and all that?
Yes, and.
I consider if we got some leftover budget to replace all or most of those with LEDs.
Well, we might be able to get LED bulbs to replace those with.
You might, but
Well, that's tricky.
those are often more expensive.
Flashlights. I'll price some.
And most of the LED flashlights, the standard size, actually have an array of bulbs. So you really get a great bright
Yeah.
light.
Speaking of batteries, are we still doing the cameras there on the beach?
I trying to get Joe, young Joe, to come and do it, it's time, it is time.
Cameras on the beach, what's this about?
Security cameras.
Not like checking out, you know, the beach,
Not
beach
this
bays.
time of year, no. We'll wait for summer to film.
Okay, I'll check it for you later, I don't wanna ask you questions.
Look, Ed's already watching everybody who comes into the club, because he's up all night, so he sees everybody coming and going. You might as well put him up too.
Who's that?
Ed, James,
Oh,
I think he's in charge of that camera, he's over there.
Okay, that it? All right, welcome in.
Not a lot to report, I've given out one in the past month, and I've still got 4 back there. But I think there's enough, I'll check the brochures, but when you're ready and able to, let me do this also. But I can check the brochure supplies first.
Okay. The only update on the planning committee, i.e. the the beach erosion project is the state threw yet another, not permit, another plan thing at us, which basically was a duplicate of what we've already done, but it's for yet another agency. So that's in the works. I don't think it's not a big impact, but it's just more paperwork. So the Department of Coastal Design is working on that. And that's all I have. I don't think we have any.
I just, for planning ahead, what would the timeline be for the beach now? So we have, a fair amount of money
Yeah.
in the budget. There's more that we can get if need be.
Yeah, I got it, now that this other thing's in work, I need to talk to Scott and find out what his thoughts on the timeline are. But the next steps would be, once all that stuff's approved, and we've got the permits and the plans and the state people nodding their head, then, he can start putting together a bid package. And, how long that'll take, probably, I'm sure, something that size, we'll probably have to advertise it.
Do they, yeah, sure, do they put out for the bids, or do they provide the scope of work to me and I send out?
We could probably do it either way, that's why I said we need to talk
Okay.
to Scott and see what makes the most sense. They're used to it,
Yeah,
they're not
could answer
costing us,
questions
they're
and
not
so.
costing us a huge amount of money.
Mhm.
It may be worth using their expertise.
Yeah, well, that way also, if somebody has questions, they can call them directly versus saying, well, let me find out.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't envision, like, you mean, like,
Well, if somebody.
bidders?
Yeah, the bidders.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, that's why I would just direct them to him anyway. It's not like I would try to answer any of that. But I was just thinking, by the time we actually get proposals and approval and so on, it might be heading toward the end of this fiscal year. So it would kind of be good perhaps to spread the cost out between the two fiscal years. If we could pay some of it now, or March, or
Yeah.
April, June, whatever timeframe.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it. just
Well,
spread
more
out.
than likely, if we're able to get through, I think, let's see, fiscal year starts
July.
July, right? So, I think it would be overly optimistic to assume we'd be any further along than having RFPs out
Oh, really?
by that point.
Okay.
If we're lucky enough to have already have done that and have a bid, then I would assume the contractors, whoever they are, will want some kind of a construction down payment,
Sure.
for materials,
Right.
and then we pay them as they
Incrementally.
progress. So it could stretch, could go between 2 years, I just don't know
It
yet.
would just, it's not that we don't have the money, it's just I'm thinking,
No, it would, yeah.
okay.
Okay. Oh, I don't have any unfinished business, anybody else?
I just have one question for you. I know, the property, well, actually, we raised it before, and someone also at the general meeting said something about it. The beach area off of Surf where, people are putting like the picnic table
Yeah,
and
actually,
the
Sal-
lights and everything.
Sal called me this morning,
Yeah.
before I got here, and he was telling me the guy's putting more stuff in.
Yeah, he is. He's like, there's like a board, I mean, it's,
Well, we
More
went
more.
out there after the general meeting on the 17th and looked at it. So I sent an email to Chris Breedlove, zoning enforcement. I should have had that in my message, I forgot. So he said he would have Rick Stodler, that's the inspector's name. He, forwarded it to Rick Stodler, and Rick is supposed to take another look at it. I haven't heard anything since, but I'll email him tomorrow. I imagine with the holidays, people are off and
Yeah.
so on.
He just doesn't want to give up, does he?
No,
Yeah.
no, part of me feels a little bad for him, I mean, he bought such a lousy piece of property.
Yeah.
I think all he wanted to do was sit on the beach and throw a fishing line in.
yeah, but he's got,
He
like,
has-
he's got
Like
3
a
lights,
gazebo.
he's got a grill, he's got a
Yeah.
fence
Yeah, I
around
know,
his
I
picnic
know.
table and his
Yeah,
grill, he's
yeah.
got a board, which you're not supposed to have, kind of blocking the sand from, like, I guess,
Yeah.
the water from.
That inlet's getting clogged.
Yeah,
The last time I saw
Well,
it.
we looked at it, and Sal thought that maybe he had dug out, can you describe it, part of the inlet to slow the flow?
Yeah.
It is flowing better, or it
Oh,
was.
It is.
So whoever
maybe
did
that's
it,
okay.
or if it happened naturally, which is what Mike thought,
Mm.
it
Yeah.
might be better for that footbridge.
But at one time, Mary Jo Ludwigson was complaining it was coming up onto her property. and-
Yeah,
Well,
she was actually there that day.
Oh, was she? Okay.
Whatever happened, and it looked, to me, it looked like it's natural.
Okay.
I didn't see any evidence of digging or
Well,
anything.
it's no
there.
worse. It's
And-
okay.
And
I
it's
just-
flowing, which
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah,
before.
Yeah,
Now, it's interesting because it's flowing in a curve.
Hmm.
So it's actually cut a new channel
so it's a meander.
going out.
It's meandering.
It's meandering
Mhm.
on its way out to the thing.
Okay.
But it's flowing.
All right, well, that's
I-
good.
Sal was kind of upset about it. I said, Sal, I don't think it's,
Yeah,
I think it's natural and I think it's doing what we want it
But
to
yes,
do.
yeah.
As far as the stuff on there, I guess,
We're not supposed to have anything.
No,
that's
it's not supposed
permanent.
to, no.
No, he was told because he couldn't do a pavilion, which is what he thought he was
Right.
gonna do in the beginning.
Right.
He couldn't do a shed. I noticed he has like one of those portable Rubbermaid kind of cabinets
Mhm.
sitting
You
there.
know, he's got 3 posts with lights
right.
and.
So whoever the
Posts or not.
inspectors are, the state people and so on, said that he could do, what was there like, 2 months ago? The
Yeah.
grill, the picnic table,
And there was a
All
beginning of a wall kind of.
they made him take
They
that
took
down. But those other things, that's on his property and he is allowed to have that there. They
Yeah, the
okayed
posts
that.
were, the posts, but he's added more since.
I know, and that's why I asked him
Does
to come
this
take
person have a
another.
house or is it just
No,
land?
No, he just
It's
bought
about
a-
Sounds like y'all
a
talking
lot
about
that's
piece of
almost,
land?
it's underwater almost, some of it.
Is
Yeah.
it near where
High
the
tide is
Monopolis is
underwater.
there?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
right down
I'll
behind
just
the
walk
house.
over and look
Yeah,
to see it all.
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you keep going to where, right before the
It's
bridge
gonna
over.
end up in the.
Okay, Mary Jo and
Mary Jo,
the
But
Monopolis.
yeah,
is-
yeah.
okay, so I'll
in
go
the
look.
county or state.
It's,
I just think they
What
should
was
take a
served.
look at it. I
I
mean, if
think
they say they
they're
forgot
not
to get it,
giving
they
them
say
right.
nothing to
Well,
do.
yeah, I think-
Piece of serve that goes
I
down,
think
and then there used to be a
Ray's
road
right,
that went all the
get
way over
zoning
to
people to look at it
the
and
club.
see if it's
Went
within,
over at least to the
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah,
and then go from there.
But
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
And
and Mr. Church
actually,
Street has kind of gotten all,
this, in
you
talking
know,
with
broken up
soil
and gone.
conservation,
So you
Can't
know where our
think
land
of
bridge is,
about that
that the,
footbridge and getting that cleared out,
Okay.
and really doing something
Yeah.
about it.
but
We
it's
would
right
have to
before
have
the bridge.
at
that
first,
was-
a
And that was the
survey
land bridge
to
where
determine
we
exactly
had
where those
repaired
boundaries
because people were
And I
using
could see the same
motorcycles,
kind
and
of
so we
thing
have that
happening.
dollar now, so people can't
If we
use their
really
truck,
wanted to
their
push
cars
it
and
with this
stuff.
guy, well, maybe
Because it
you're
was-
encroaching
I
a
think it
little
cost
bit
us
on our right of way or
$1,800
on the
to fix it
boundary
one
line
time.
or something.
And
We
all
have to
these
have a survey done, we're not
vehicles
gonna
are
take
far,
our word
not
for it,
cars,
it's just
but
saying,
other
that's
vehicles
how,
heavy.
that's what it is.
And breaking up the wood, so.
You know, you have to
It's
make
right-
some
right
effort.
But they had fun.
Yeah, they did.
Those kids had fun.
I know.
But I also
And the
know.
adults are like,
It's-
ah, don't worry about it, that happens, that shit
Well,
breaks.
and the adults, and the adults.
Did you guys have a question about this?
No, we're just
Complaining
about
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there was something useful.
No, no, I'm ready to go beat somebody up. You don't wanna hear about
You are being recorded, Jim, I'm just saying.
her. She's got it.
A good strong nor'easter will
Well, I was
probably
surprised
solve
it
our problem.
Yeah, but then it'll be in the water, it's
Well-
pollution.
That's true.
You're kind of torn between feeling bad for the guy and
Yeah,
saying, why are you doing this?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if he has like a picnic table, like something that you can, use, but.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll wait for the county to get back to us. New business?
There's a quit claim request, and I drew it up a while ago, so it's here, it's ready for signature. I assume it'll be approved. Again, with Christmas, I didn't get it sent out to anybody, but it's the same quit claim for repairing rights that we are always requested to
Do
do.
we know what the person wants to do?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna tell you in a second. I didn't print a bunch of these, but if you look, if I'm reading it correctly,
That's good.
to me, it looks like, if this is, Jack, is that the shoreline, and his lot goes out here, is that how you read that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And this
Bay
is where-
Drive, right?
This is
Yeah,
where Carol
that's it.
Baronick used to
Yeah.
live, so.
It's Baronick's house.
It's Carol Barron's
Yeah.
old house.
So,
The house that was just
This
recently
is,
purchased.
Big
Yeah, is
Drive.
it the one with the porch, like it looks like a residential?
This is Carl's house right here?
I think this must be where Charles' house was,
Okay, so
yeah.
that's what we're talking about?
Yeah.
So I think
so
this
he
is,
really, I think.
So
when he
Jack's
goes
down
to
here.
town-
What are they doing?
I
They're
didn't
trying to
know
build
this
something in
would
the
be
back?
here.
We don't know, she's, I guess she's gonna tell us.
Everybody in that whole
hadn't
street
looked at
is
the
just
plat
turned
yet.
into a bunch of,
But I
the
think-
guys that do that work, keep
Let's,
where.
So I-
Tell us what
I
you're-
wanna know what's going on
So-
and she can tell us.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when he came in to talk to me about what he wants to do, which I'll tell you in a second, because I don't think he's allowed to do it. I said, oh, well, you're gonna need a quick claim for riparian rights, and I'll get that on the next agenda, so here it is. But then I pulled up the plat, and if you look at it, his property line extends out beyond the shoreline. So I don't think, if it's anything like, am I reading it right?
Yeah, looks like.
So if it's anything like the woman on Surf, who has a swimming pool, that property, she redid her jetty, and she didn't come to us for the quick claim.
Oh, yeah.
And I happened to be talking to her for some other reason, and it all came up, and I said, didn't the county make you get a quick claim? She said, no, my property line goes right out into the water.
Oh.
And sure enough, it does, and it looks just like these.
Right.
So, all that aside, I think, you know, go ahead and give him the quick claim, because if he gets hold of somebody at the county that doesn't understand that,
Mhm.
you know, but what he wants to do is put a dock out on the bay, and I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore. And he
Well-
wanted to have a lift for his jet ski. And I told him, I said, I don't know if you're allowed to do that on the bay.
Well, you,
I might,
you might be able to, but you're talking about a whole another layer of permitting.
well, and I told him, I said, you'll have to go to the state, the county, you'll have a lot to go
Probably,
through.
probably the Corps of
This
Engineers.
is the only thing we have to do with it, is this
Yeah.
quick claim.
I know.
But,
So, I agree with you, I probably don't need it, but
yeah, may as well
we
have
can
it.
give it to him.
Yeah. so
Now,
you just sign.
This is interesting, if you look at this,
Don't throw on that, that's the
what
one.
what Rita's saying is the area in the yellow there goes out into the shore. So
yeah,
it basically says, he already has that, that's already his property.
Yeah.
If you look at the one next to it, that's got the curve, the one above it,
Up here, up here?
that one is like a lot of the other lots in Drum Point, where the property line is actually back,
Maybe it's here.
From the beach?
yeah, so kinda
Yeah,
says,
I'm not sure
That's-
where the property line is.
that's where our right of way is.
Oh.
Yeah.
But these other lots, both of them, and a couple of them above that even,
Well,
the property
I
line.
guess I'm confused,
I
I
don't
thought if
see-
it was underwater, that if it's in the water, then it's
It's a state,
Well-
I thought.
it's a stay, it's not,
Well, there's that
it's
also.
no
that goes
longer
into it.
property.
Well, that's sort of a different issue, that's a public domain issue. And that might, in itself, might require some kind of riparian rights. Now, I don't know that we have the ability to grant that, or we have to go to the state.
They have to go to the state.
Okay.
Well, and I
This line
explained that to
here, what
him,
is this?
but the
Here's the water
county,
here.
at least in
And
the
what is
past,
this
has
line
always
here?
required that we do a
That's his
quick
claim,
claim.
Yeah,
for
but
Is
is
riparian
that
that
rights.
underwater, or?
So.
You mean, so
this
his
is our
property goes
part.
further in here?
Yeah.
But I don't know what all these.
I don't know what
Can I
else
see
we'll
it real
have to
quick?
do.
Does our lawyer
They
know,
were
or is that a
saying-
question that we can
No, we
ask?
don't, why would we wanna spend money and
Okay,
ask
this
a
must
lawyer
be
on
their
something we have
property.
nothing to do with?
To me, this is
We're
a,
not sure.
Well, I think we are sure.
I'd like to see
Yeah.
that right there.
It's not clear
That's
to
my,
us what, where the property line is,
The
looking at
cat's
this
over
map, I
here.
mean, it looks like.
so I'm trying to think.
So I
of-
drew the yellow lines right out to the edge of
Is
the
that line,
That is
It's not
property.
clear
We're
what's
just going
underwater,
there
it's
here
not
real
clear
quick.
what's underwater.
is this,
All right along.
is this water over here?
yeah.
Yeah, so this is
So
his shoreline right here.
Oh,
His
this
property
little
line
line
goes-
here is the
Yeah.
shoreline, but his property
That's
goes
how I
here,
read
and
it.
this guy's property goes past it too then?
Yeah, that's how I read it.
Okay, Mike, what do you?
Okay, what are we getting
That's
here?
all I know.
Yeah.
That's what after I saw this, I thought, oh, that's what Jack
Well,
was
it-
talking
This here
about.
is.
Susan's got the floor.
This here, this curving thing is current. Okay?
Okay, it's my understanding, and I just want to see if everyone else, if we're all on the same page, because I don't think we are. But according to what you are saying, it is his property line, we all know it goes into the water. And the state, and we can grant quitclaim deed, but really his issue is with the state.
Pretty much.
Now, is there any reason that that needs to be explored any further, or you are very comfortable in saying that to us? I mean, I'm very comfortable with you saying it based
Yes,
on your
I'm
experience.
comfortable with
Okay,
that.
that's what I'm
We
trying to
never
get
know.
on
I mean, I
the
understand.
table.
With the state.
Yeah, I understand that, but I would think that you would tell him that you would have to go to the state.
I've already told him that.
Okay,
So,
well,
but
then
Yeah,
you're-
she said that.
we're all on the same page.
I told him that.
She
What is
said
your,
And I'm sure when they go, he's gonna have to go for permits for whatever he
Yeah.
wants to do.
but what does our granting him a quick claim do for him?
nothing.
It may mean nothing.
Ordinarily, it would allow the county to give him the permit,
Okay.
because we're granting the quick claim, and we, you know,
Okay, so this may be just a formality.
that's my
Yeah.
thinking.
Okay.
So you keep saying that his property goes into the water, but his property stops at the water line, correct?
Well, that's, but again, that's a state issue.
Yeah,
State
exactly,
issue.
that's what I'm saying.
The state says that anything below the mean high water line is public domain.
Right, exactly.
But you're saying this is
So
summer
his
water though?
stops,
So, but, no, but
It's not.
so the state is gonna look at this and say, well, this area out here, is this the same? Yeah.
It's the same one.
Okay, this one out, this area that's out here in the water, even though your property line goes out there
Into the water,
into the water,
okay.
that is public domain, because it's below the high water line.
So are you saying this is high water line here? What is this?
Well,
I think it's the shoreline.
That's, oh, so you're
we're
saying,
assuming this is shoreline.
oh, where, over here. so-
What is this right
This
here?
is,
What
yeah,
is
yeah,
that?
yeah, we're confused.
You're talking about
This,
the gray area?
That gray area, what is that?
That, when you see that, that usually indicates there's a pretty steep bank.
Oh, okay.
It's contour
But
lines.
the line, this line here, over here, is that underwater, or that's the actual, there's sand right up to this point here?
Well, okay, if you look at this thing, there's a gray line that runs along. you know,
Oh, I see, yeah.
In and out of these jutties and groins.
Okay,
That, to me, that defines the shore.
but right here, this piece here, is this,
Is that shore?
That
Is
is the shoreline.
this is the shoreline, that means this is above water.
Well, that's what that does look like, doesn't it?
That's, it's just confusing.
No, this line here, I think we're talking about, this little wavy guy
Okay,
right
that's
there.
the shoreline?
This is probably an original thing that originally, yeah, they had to there, they
This
had
is,
it to
yeah.
there.
And
Yes,
over time,
And this year,
Obviously,
now they-
it's to the-
like I said, it's contoured, and you get an
Okay,
idea of
so-
depth on it.
so over time, you're
Okay.
saying, over time, the water has risen?
Yeah, the shoreline has
Okay,
eroded.
all right, got it.
I got it,
Yeah.
all right.
And the riparian rules and law basically say, nature giveth and taketh
Yeah,
away.
yeah. Mhm.
If you had a piece of thing that you defined as your property, and now that the mean high water line is above that, you have lost.
Mhm.
If there's a whole bunch of sand brought in, and now that mean high water line goes out another 20 feet, you have gained.
Mhm.
I thought it actually went to the state.
There's a strip along that is also owned by the state.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
where
there's-
that
That's what Eric told me.
Well, I think
I was
he's right.
shocked. Yeah,
No, he's right. You can,
Yeah.
that's why you can walk up the entire
yeah.
shoreline of Maryland, if you could, do
Yeah.
that. And you are with, even like on the
Yeah, but I was-
club property, you
Yeah.
can walk because
So
that's
what
state
my
property.
point was that, because we were talking about I guess it's a tangent, but we were talking about Drum Point and how like part of it has eroded and then part of it has accumulated sand. And technically, the accumulated area actually belongs to the state.
Well, the state says any land below the mean high water line
Yeah, no, I know that.
is
It was-
public domain,
Right.
and anybody can walk on it.
Right, right.
Okay? Now, if the tide's up and there's no land there, then you have to wait it.
Mhm.
But still, the mean high water line defines
Yeah,
the difference between personal
Yeah, I
property
understand
and
And
our.
that's, it's a static
And
thing.
we add more confusion to it by saying we also own the right of way on some properties.
yeah.
Okay.
So did we get a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion.
Sorry,
Huh?
Riparian,
Go ahead.
RIPARIAN.
I look up words, that's why I'm asking.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
See if it's in Wordle.
That's why I like to
Yeah,
read on
too
the
many others.
letters. That's why I like to read on my tablet. If I'm reading my book and I just have to tap that word.
Oh, yeah, no, I do it constantly when I
Yeah.
read books and I don't understand a word, and
Look it
I
up.
know the word, but I wanted to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
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 You don't
Oh.
I don't have to read it. It does.
Okay. We've done that. Any other, new business anybody's got? Okay. I don't have my calendar, but I think the 7th of February, the first Tuesday.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
Yeah.
yep, it is.
All right, so I'd say, tentatively schedule it for the 7th, but I think it's gonna kind of be subject to, because I'm not gonna be here, so it'll be subject to Tony and Jack and,
He should be back by then.
no,
I mean, Tony,
Tony should,
yeah,
yeah.
Tony should be back. by
No,
then.
but if he's
Yeah.
available,
If he's, oh, well, yeah.
What are
that's
your
right.
dates now that you're out of town?
the 2nd through the 2nd of March, 2nd of Feb to the 2nd of March, probably the 3rd of
And
March.
where are you
Huh?
going? And where are you going this time?
South,
I don't know.
Florida.
Leave us here with all this
Yeah,
possible snow.
a good time to go.
So do you have to have a quorum to have a meeting?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you did, but I just, it's not a dumb question if you need to.
Wait a minute, what was that thing you said, the subsequent, after lacking a quorum?
Well, I don't know if that applies to the board
Oh,
meeting.
that was, it does.
Oh, you're talking about the board meetings?
That applies to the membership meeting.
I don't know yet.
The board meeting is,
Travelers. I'm just kidding.
I mean, we could still have a meeting to informally discuss issues and all that, but it wouldn't count
Yeah.
on the record as an official.
The state passed that a few years ago for membership meetings, because associations like ours couldn't even get minutes approved.
I had this, I don't know if it was a nightmare or what it was recently, and I just realized there could be subversive types in Drum Point that get together and just take over our government here. And I'm not joking, in a way, I mean, you think about how easy it would be with how few people would show
They
up.
tried
Hey, yeah,
that.
that's
They-
right.
You get yourself 30 people that are on your side, and you go in there and start saying, no, this is how it's gonna be.
They tried that a few years ago,
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
close.
Yeah, I mean, see, I can see that, and then it's like, oh crap, that means we gotta turn around and we gotta go get our neighbors and friends. You don't understand how important this is.
So typically what we do on a board meeting, and that's why we talk about, we have some flexibility. Even though the first Tuesday is normal,
Yeah.
we frequently will change it and say, well, it's gonna have to be on Thursday or the next week.
Yeah.
So we can try to work around people's schedules to get a quorum.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no excuses.
Okay,
Sad, I'm not busy enough. That's it.
we're adjourned.